Good morning, all. Today we are going to discuss Module 6 from the subject EST 130 Basics of Electronics Engineering. Okay, this is for your second series exam. Just refresh your memory. Okay, let me present the slides. The first topic is evolution of communication system. So here it's explaining the different generation of communication. Okay, communication technologies, that is from 1G to 5G. Okay, 1G to 5G. So when it's starting, and what's the used bandwidth, technology, service, multiplexing, switching, then the network used, handoff procedure, everything is comparing here from first generation to fifth generation, 1G to 5G. Okay, and also discussing the different wireless communications like satellite communication, infrared, then broadcast radio systems, and microwave, Wi-Fi, mobile communication, Bluetooth, etc. And the basic system architecture is also showing here. Okay, and well explaining the systems. Okay, just go through all topics. So next part is the elements of basic communication system. Okay, here the block diagram is shown along with a well explained architecture, or the different blocks, not architecture, different blocks coming in a generalized communication system. We can see here the information signal, different input and output transducer, transmitter and receiver, noise, key, etc. is well explained in this topic by taking each block separately. Okay, study that. Next topic is the RF frequency bands, radio frequency bands or radio frequency spectrum using for communication and the different application. In that we can see the radio spectrum can be divided into different frequency bands, that is listed as extremely low frequency, medium frequency, high frequency, very high frequency, ultra high frequency, and super high frequency, and the last one is extremely high frequency. And each frequency band is listed here, that is 3 kilohertz to 30 kilohertz is extremely low frequency, and each part is showing the corresponding frequency and wavelength. And we can see this pictorially explaining the application of each frequency band. Okay, and this all is listed in this table. Okay, table. You can see the different name of the bands, their utilizing frequency range, their wavelength, and the application, and individually explaining each frequency bands. So it is better to draw this table and list it all. Okay, it's enough. There's no need of explaining individually. So next is one important topic, that is the signal modulation. Uh, we already discussed what is modulation, what is the need for modulation, what are the different modulation, everything we have this well explained. So this just go to it. That is, we can see here modulation is a process of changing the parameter of carrier signal accordance with the instantaneous values of the modulating signal. So the main components coming here is the carrier signal and the modulating signal, and the definition is saying here modulation definition, then what does the different needs for modulation, advantages of modulation, then different signals involving in modulation process, types of modulation, etc. And also we have explained it in the slides. I have already shared the slides. You go through that slides in that I explained by giving examples. Okay, just go through that also. The types of modulation is saying that the amplitude modulation, frequency modulation, phase modulation. So we have to study this amplitude modulation and frequency modulation. Okay, phase modulation is the part of frequency modulation. So we can study it in the higher semesters. Here we can see the amplitude modulation. It's also a process in which the amplitude of the carrier signal is changing according with the amplitude of the modulating signal. So we can see the amplitude modulated waveform is important. We have to study this different waveforms and the process is explaining here. And here one I missed the topic of modulation index, but it is in the slide. What does mean by modulation index? What mean by a modulation index? It is the ratio of Vm, that is the maximum modulating signal voltage to the carrier voltage, Vm by Vc. That is the ratio of Vm to Vc. That's the maximum modulating signal voltage to carrier voltage. So what was the range of modulation index in AM? In between 0 and 1. If it is greater than 1, it may undergo or over modulation or signal distortion. Okay, remember that one. So next is frequency modulation process. And in frequency modulation, what happens? Sorry, uh, amplitude modulation, what happens? Amplitude of the carrier is varying. But in frequency modulation, the frequency of the carrier signal is varies in accordance with the instantaneous amplitude of the modulating signal. Here, the amplitude and phase of the carrier signal is remain unchanged, only changing for its frequency. Okay, so we can see its waveforms, that is the modulating or baseband signal, carrier signal, frequency modulated signal, and is well showing how the frequency of the carrier wave is changing in according with the modulating signal amplitude. So here also I lost one topic, that is the modulation index and the frequency deviation of in FM system. That is also noted in the slides. Okay. Next is super heterodyne radio receivers. Super heterodyne radio receivers means it's a type of receiver. Then what are the different properties of a receiver? Good receiver should have good sensitivity, selectivity, fidelity, etc. Okay. So super heterodyne radio receiver is a commonly using receiver. It is having one property called mixing or heterodyning property. So what is the advantages of heterodyning or mixing? We can convert our higher radio frequency band to a lower frequency or known as intermediate frequency band. How? By mixing the radio frequency signal along with a locally generated frequency. Locally generated frequency. Okay. So combining this radio frequency and the locally generated frequency and producing a some frequency and different frequency, then there is a filter part, that is filtering the higher frequency component only past the lower frequency component, and that lower frequency is known as intermediate frequency or IF frequency. So here we can see the basic block diagram of a super heterodyne receiver. We can see this RF amplifier, mixer, IF amplifier, detector, AF amplifier, and one local oscillator. Okay, and the final load part is speaker, and this is the front antenna, receiver session antenna, receiver. Okay, reminder, receiver part is this, so this is the receiving antenna, and we can see the waveforms in each block waveforms, that is RF carrier signal, amplified carrier signal, that's doing the RF amplifier, then mixer combining the RF signal along with the locally generated signal and producing an IF signal. In between there's an filter is there, that is filtering the high frequency component, again giving to detector, AM detector. Now our original signal is getting recovered from the wave. Okay, and the last is the AF amplifier, that's amplifying our extracted message signal and giving to a speaker part. So here I'm explaining each block, its functions is well explained in these points. Okay, just go through that, and what's important is that it is fixed frequency of 455 kilohertz, that is the intermediate frequency band. Okay, the modulation of IF carrier signal is same as that of original carrier signal, and it is having a fixed frequency band of 455 kilohertz. Okay, this 455 kilohertz is important. It's the IF frequency, fixed frequency. Okay, and the last part, its comparison is with the other receiver, tuned radio receivers. Okay, tuned radio receivers, comparing with the super heterodyne, and we can see it's having higher efficiency compared to other receivers. This super heterodyne having higher efficiency in basis of this sensitivity, selectivity, and fidelity. And one more important thing we have to uh, remember is that is the automatic gain control. Automatic gain control of the super heterodyne receiver. That is, we can see here different amplifier part of RF, IF, and audio. So each are having different gains. So in order to synchronize this all system, there's an automatic gain control is giving for this RF, IF, and mixer stages to generate a constant output irrespective of the change in input signal. Okay, remember that also. So next is principle of antenna. Principle of antenna is based on the radiation from accelerated charges. That is, antenna working principle is explaining based on radiation from accelerated charges. So, what was the working? I have shared with a YouTube video and a slide. Okay, anybody remembers? That was about a dipole. Dipole. What was dipole? Dipole is a positively and negatively charged particle arranged in a spacing of L. L spacingil arrange ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ള പോസിറ്റീവ്ലി ആൻഡ് നെഗറ്റീവ്ലി ചാർജ്ഡ് പാർട്ടിക്കിളിൻ്റെ അറേഞ്ച്മെൻറ്റിനാണ് എന്ത് പറയുന്നത്, ഡൈപോൾ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. And how was its working? These charged particles are producing electric field, then when this change in field will creates a magnetic field, further the change in magnetic field creates an electric field, so there's a electromagnetic fields are arising around this charged particle. So what is the properties of this electromagnetic field? This electric field and magnetic field are perpendicular to each other. Okay, So there's an electromagnetic field. So electromagnetic radiation is produced, but there's no transmission. How it's getting radiated? Only generated, not radiated. Only this electromagnetic waves are generated, not radiated. So how it's get radiated? A particular time period, this both particles, accelerated particles, are joined together or meeting in a point or coincides. Then this fields around it getting detached from the part. Okay, so that was explained in an animated video in YouTube. You just look that in a previously shared slideshow. Okay, so that was the radiation from the accelerated charges. Okay, then we have already explained the different antenna types like dipole, Yaguda, log periodic patch antenna, microstrips, etc. Okay, then we can use an antenna for receiving and also transmitting purpose, and that's property is known as a reciprocity property. Next topic is cellular communication. What we have studied in cellular communication, that is the basic element in cellular communication is cells. Cells is a small basic geographic unit of a cellular system. Okay, the complete geographic area is divided into small unit. Each small unit is calling as a cell, and it's having an hexagonal pattern for maximum number of or area providing in hexagonal shape, that is using the cell is using this hexagonal shape. Okay, then what was clusters? Clusters was the cells that are having different frequency channels. So a cluster is a group of cells. No channels are used within a cluster. You can see the different diagrams. Here the cluster size, the sub1 plus number of cells are there and creating a cluster. Each cell is having different frequency channels. So this is calling as a cluster having cluster size of 7. Okay. Each cell is having a baseband system. Sorry, base not baseband, base station. That's tower. Each cell is having a base station or tower. Next concept is the frequency reuse concept. What was frequency reuse concept? We have reuse. We can reuse the frequency channel already used in a cluster. Okay, and that process is called as frequency reuse. That is, frequency reuse is restructuring the mobile system architecture into a cellular concept. You can see here the 7-celled cluster is multiplied or replicated in this part and also in this part. Each cell 1 is using a particular frequency channel. The same channel is used by this cell 1. Okay. Next is the different plans for improving the capacity and coverage. First one is cell splitting. Cell splitting, that is, if the available cell is a congested cell or the population density is higher, what happens? The available cell is splitted and providing with a low power base antenna with a base station. So smaller cell is created, and this process is called cell splitting. And one more thing we have explained is cell sectoring, that is dividing each cell into different sectors of 90-degree 120 degree, 60 degree, etc. And the omnidirectional single omnidirectional antennas were replaced by different directional antennas in each sector. Next is handoff procedure. What was handoff procedure? While we have a transition or changing from one position to another position, our call automatically transfers from one base station to another base station. So this process is called handoff. We can see here this handoff procedure. Mobile switching center controls this handoff procedure by transferring our call and details to the neighboring or serving base station to neighboring base station. Next is GSM system, Global System for Mobile Communication. Okay, that is an architecture for this GSM system. We already explained that our architecture. We have basically four subsystems. One is mobile station. Mobile station consists of mobile equipment and subscriber identity module SIM. Okay. Next is base station subsystem. It comprises base station transceivers and base station controllers. Next is network switching subsystem. In that, as five components are there. That is mobile switching center, HLR, home location register, visitor location register, EAR, then AUC. Okay, and one more is there. That is the operating subsystem, operation control, not operating subsystem, operation control subsystem is OSS, that's controlling all other subsystems operation. Okay, and each subsystem is communicating each other by an interfacing. Here is one interfacing. Next, interfacing, ABS interfacing, A interfacing. Then this network subsystem is communicating with other systems by an SS7 interface. And this each title or each element is well explained in this notes. Let's go through that notes. Okay. I think all of you get refreshed with all topics in module 6, and these all topics I have handled in the online sessions by using 6 lecture slides. Okay, and already shared that all slides and study well. Thank you.